Welcome back to Cocktails with Kurt. This is episode 3 of our classic cocktail series, and today's drink is the Sazerac. Kurt, what are the components of a Sazerac?
Component of the Sazerac, pretty simple. We have rye, absinthe, Peychaud bitters, and simple syrup.
All right, so the rye is the same spirit that was in the Manhattan.
The Rittenhouse.
All right, tell us about absinthe. Is that a liqueur?
Absinthe is a spirit. It's often confused for a liqueur, but it has no added sugar, so it is pure spirit.
Okay, and Peychaud's, that's a different type of bitters from what we saw in the Manhattan.
Correct. It is a specific brand. It is not, I don't think it's really an aromatic bitters, so it's its own beast. We've actually used it in some drinks to, contrary to its name, to mellow them a little bit.
Mellow the bitterness.
Mellow the bitterness.
Okay, and is the simple syrup a traditional component of the Sazerac?
The traditional component would be sugar cubes, but sugar cubes are kind of a pain in the butt to really integrate into the drink. Simple syrup just mixes very nicely.
So as to brands, we've already talked about preferred brands for the rye. How about absinthe?
There are a lot of brands of absinthe out there. The one that we use is from Mount Defiance Distillery in Virginia. I'm sure any of the ones available at the ABC store would work fine, however.
Now, isn't this spirit just relatively recently back on the market?
It is. In the early 1900s, it was banned because one of the components of absinthe is wormwood, and that tends to cause hallucinations in sufficient doses. But there's not nearly enough wormwood actually in absinthe to be problematic.
Okay, so what are the proportions for this drink?
Pretty simple. We do 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, 3 dashes of bitters, 1.5 ounces of rye, and there's just going to be a little bit of a wash of the absinthe. So we don't even use that much.
A wash, that's intriguing.
Just
Tell us about that.
Well, basically what's going to happen is right now, these glasses are filled with ice. They're getting nice and cold. Just before we pour the majority of the ingredients in, I'm going to throw out all the ice and do a little bit of a wash around the glasses, and I'll show you doing that. And that's all it's going to get. Let's see, what am I looking for? Oh yeah, this. All right. So this time I'm using 2 glasses. So this jigger is 1/2 ounce by 3/4 ounce. And again, it's only 1/4 ounce of simple syrup.
Now, the last couple episodes, I believe you made our 2 drinks together, but today you're making them separately. Why is that?
Because there's so little, it's just a little easier to do it that way. 1, 2, 3 dashes of bitters.
So am I correct in assuming that because only spirits are involved, you'll be stirring this drink?
That is correct.
Well, I guess this is the first time we've had simple syrup as an added component, but that's not something that would trigger the need for shaking.
That's also correct.
Okay.
So 1.5 ounces of spirit. And proportions matter. At a lot of bars, you'll see them eyeballing their drinks, eyeballing the amount that goes into each cocktail. The truth is, mixing cocktails well is more akin to baking than it is to savory cooking. And it really matters to get the proportions right, because it doesn't take much of an imbalance, say the absinthe, to really throw off the drink and to really have one thing dominate over everything else. So obviously everything is also a matter of taste. It's kind of like in the martini, where the proportions can be anywhere from what I use, 6 to 1 to 25 to 1 or 1 to 1. So it is your preference on what you want to do, but it's important once you figure out what's right to do that consistently.
So let's talk about glassware for a minute. Those are not the coupes that we used for the martinis and the Manhattans.
That is correct. These are rocks glasses, thus, because you tend to use them with ice. These are smaller ones. They come in many different sizes, and the size will tend to determine how much ice you put into it, what kind of drink you put into it. What am I looking for? This is what
But is it fair to say that since these are rocks glasses, drinks that you serve in these glasses would be on the rocks? As a general rule?
As a rule. Though these could also be whiskey glasses, and that would be served with or without ice, again, based on your preference.
So this is the aforementioned absinthe wash.
This is the wash. There's not even a 1/4 ounce of absinthe in here. Just washing it around the edges of the glass.
Oh my goodness, are you going to pour it out when you're done?
Hell no. This gets drunk. Usually by the bartender, as said.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some ice in it. Should have loosened these up earlier. There we go. Nope. Shoot. That was bad timing. There we go.
Ooh, fancy.
The ice, using an ice ball or a large chunk of ice, in my mind, is preferable a lot to lots of small ice cubes, because these large chunks won't melt as fast, so your drink isn't diluted quite as quickly, which is an advantage.
So is there a garnish for this drink?
There is a garnish. It is lemon peel. And one of the things to obviously note is if you're using a large block of ice or an ice ball, you need to make sure that you have enough space for both the ice and the drink, and it doesn't come out of the glass, because it would be very embarrassing to have that pour out. So we squeeze the lemon peel and get a little bit of oil. This is one of those parts where you want a nice fresh piece of lemon, because if the peel is dried out, you don't get the oil expressed, and the oil adds to the character of the drink. And there we go.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. See you next time.
See you next time.